Welcome to the new show. Fresh on this June day. Creative Universe Checkpoint Earth presents Union News. Why does Twin Flame Union seem crazy? The real Twin Flame work happens on the inside and then it will guaranteed manifest outside. In this series of lives, I share about what that means for my union consciousness process to inspire you to find yours. It serves as a source for your almost daily Twin Flame news. Today on the show, we have Why Does Twin Flame Union Seem Crazy? Because don't you have that experience that things get a little strange and crazy when you get into connection truly with the Twin Flame reality, with union reality? And don't you have this experience that you hope for like a beautiful movie-like romantic union, and then when you see some Twin Flame unions that are truly in harmonious Twin Flame union, the consciousness state, because then we know that it's the real thing, because many other things really aren't, although they are presented as such, that you suddenly think that it looks strange, that they look strange, they look crazy. Well, maybe you don't experience that, but that's what I observe that people do. They think it's crazy. When they see true Twin Flames in harmonious union, they think they're crazy. They look crazy. Yeah, so is Twin Flame union really crazy? Is that the thing? Well, let's sort of try to research that today. Let me know in the chat where you are watching from. I think it's always magical that we come from over the entire globe together. And add a heart as a reaction underneath this video when you desire union. And what about adding a flame when you want to have the consciousness of harmonious union? Because that's what it's all about. When you have it, when you attain it, you are guaranteed in the flow of making it all come true in a way that is sustainable and joyful. So that way you can like cement that you desire that much further when you answer me a flame in the comments. Let's start our investigation today with the Twin Flame Union Consciousness Wisdom of the Day. And I selected this one. Here it comes. The Twin Flame Union relationship will not come into being from emotional maturity alone, because it is led and fed by the divine that will transform your sense of what emotional maturity even is. The Twin Flame Union relationship will not come into being from emotional maturity alone, because it is led and fed by the divine that will transform your sense of what emotional maturity even is. So that might also be an answer to why Twin Flame Union is crazy, or is seen as crazy when people see the real thing. Because when you are on the way of attaining it, you will go through a transformation. And not only your idea of what emotional maturity is will change and transform in that transformation that you will undergo, but also your entire idea of what twin flame union is will transform on the way there. When you arrive in the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union, you will know what twin flame union truly is. And it might be something different than you thought it was. And that's why it seems crazy, because you have like a little bit of a wrong perception of what it even is. And I think that there is so much truth in all of this, and that one of the crux of what we're talking about here is that it's not something that you look at on the outside. It's not an outside thing. The twin flame is not an outside phenomenon. It's not a manifested physical phenomenon. It's an inner phenomenon. Twin flame union is an inner reality, and you can see it when you are in the consciousness state, when you have transformed in the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union. And then you can inner see what that is. And yes, when it is attained and it starts to progress from there, it will also have an outside for sure. It will manifest physically, but that's not where the definition is formed of what that is. That's not how you can see it, how you know. That's not where the truth of it is able to be found. The truth of harmonious twin flame union is not able to be found in the fact that this divine masculine part of this twin flame union, I don't know, looks like someone with a little bit of an ochre skin and like dark hair, and this divine feminine part of the same twin flame union looks like someone with blonde curls and a bit tiny. I don't know, I'm just making this up right now. It's not in the cells of the body. It's not in the curls of the hair. It's not in the form of your figure. It's not in the darkness and lightness of your skin and your eyes. It's not in all of these things. It's not even in your astrology. It's not in the day that you were born. It's not in the relative amount of health that your body is in. I don't know, what more can we sum up? It's not in that. That's not where you can see and know if it is your true twin flame. It can look like many things. And we just have like maybe an idealized version of what a love bear should look like. And that may not be how it looks like when you look on the outside to a given twin flame union that is the true one, that is a true one in the consciousness state of harmonious union, or your own when you are in the midst of it yourself. It just may not look like what you think it will look like. And I think that we're so used to judging things from the outside, judging things in form, judging the form. And we'll do that as best as we can and be very subtle about it and very perceptive about it and whatnot. But it just doesn't lie there at all. And that's like the difference, I guess. That's like, yeah. So, and it also doesn't lie in emotional maturity. What about that? I think that's also very interesting, right? Because I mean, our social media are full of, like it's social media. So it's logic also, like about observations about the social world and how we interact and act, and about relationships, and about what is a good idea, how to deal with relationships, and what is not such a good idea, how to deal with it, and how to be a better parent. And I don't know, there's so many ideas. And many of these ideas are beautiful and wonderful. They make you more perceptive and more introspective, and they They take care of that. We share inspiration for being kinder to each other and whatnot. I think that's great. There's a place for that. That's fantastic. And emotional maturity is something for sure. Oh my gosh, it is. But it's not where you find your twin flame. That's not where that is. And even when you believe that you are emotionally gifted or like socially apt, and you look at a lot of these social media shares that are about that or what have you, then you might find something real different when you truly go to the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union and you come there and you go through this entire transformation that wipes away everything you thought you knew about all of that, and then it will be rebuilt from the inside out. And then you will know what emotional maturity is in union perspective, which is something completely different. Yeah. Let's move on to ACIM, A Course in Miracles. What a beautiful method to study what union consciousness is. And guess what? Twin flame, harmonious twin flame union is a form of union consciousness. Twin flame union, after all. So we are in lesson of the day at number 170. There is no cruelty in God, and none in me. No one attacks without intent to hurt. This can have no exception. When you think that you attack in self-defense, you mean that to be cruel is protection. You are safe because of cruelty. You mean that you believe to hurt another brings you freedom. And you mean that to attack is to exchange the state in which you are for something better, safer, more secure from dangerous invasion and from fear. How thoroughly insane is the idea that to defend from fear is to attack? For here is fear begot and fed with blood, to make it grow and swell and rage. And thus is fear protected, not escaped. Today we learn a lesson which can save you more delay and needless misery than you can possibly imagine. It is this. You make what you defend against, and by your own defense against it, is it real and inescapable. Lay down your arms, and only then do you perceive it falls. And there's more to this lesson, and I will publish that in the show notes. Each show in this series, Twin Flames Inside the Womb, I have a whole story with source links, and you can read it. It's a little bit of a union consciousness study, actually, when you would consistently do that, which is valuable. Therefore, I placed it on patreon.com/PEJ@CreativeUniverse, and the link is below or in the pinned comment below. And when you become a Patreon, you can see the show notes. I will publish them every time after the show is over. And I also give other beautiful and unique advantages for Patreons. And one of them is that I give every month a huge deal that I don't give anywhere else. So if you are interested in working with me and you want a beautiful deal, paying lots of less money, then become a Patreon too. And of course, you invest in yourself, in your own union consciousness relationship with the Divine Mother when you would do so. So this is so interesting. Going back to ACM lesson 170, there's no cruelty in God and none in me. So we have this tendency to attack when we're upset about something in the world. And we have this tendency to attack ourselves as well, which is very interesting. And this lesson actually says that when you defend something, you do as if you are attacked. And therefore, you want to attack back. And that's actually what your defending action proclaims. So don't defend anything. You don't have anything to defend. Because then you are going into this war of cruelty. And that's not necessary because there's no cruelty in God and none in me. The me, that is the true you, that is the you in union. There is no cruelty there. There is no attacking there. So you don't have to defend anything. And it is already true. You don't have to defend something to make it come true. You are already who you are in your twin flame union. You are already who you are in relationship to the divine. You don't have to defend anything. You don't have to attack anything. And that's the same to make that come true. That's not necessary. You are already that. And that's how you find it. And that's how you make it sustainable, when you consistently don't attack and don't defend. Because you have the insight that it's not necessary. Isn't that interesting? That's what this lesson is about. You are already the twin flame in your union that is present here. And when you thoroughly experience that and don't defend and don't attack, your twin flame will start to sort of float, exist, be next to you, within reach. How interesting. And this is not an idea. It's real. It's something real. I remember that. I mean, I was the biggest proponent of being cruel and attacking and wanting to defend all day long, every day. Because, well, I grew up as a child being attacked all the time and trying to defend myself against it all the freaking time, in the most vital relationship of any child, that with my parents. They were very cruel to me emotionally. So I learned all this behavior that is all about cruelty and defending and attacking and self-attack. Because what your parent does towards themselves and therefore demonstrate in relationship to you as a child, you start to do to yourself as grown up, when you have grown up. So that's attacking yourself and trying to defend yourself from all kinds of other things. Right. So, which is the self-attack, which is the same. And that was also pretty much unconscious for me around 15 years ago or so. I just didn't understand this, that I did this. Because it was unconscious and it was like the norm. Because I was made to behave like that by my continual presence of the behaviors in my family, in how I had grown up, in how they still dealt with me. And the whole conceptualization around that was that there was nothing wrong with my family, of course. They were like, the image was that they were the epitome of normalness and goodness, which in reality, as you may understand now, was absolutely not so, which also constitutes like an abuse of the mind, of concepts, even of words, which is a big part of what narcissistic abuse is, should you know anything about that, because we can't go into that here today. But it's highly confusing spiritual abuse. Because that's like a big brainwashing part of it all, because you were, when you're not allowed to notice that something is going on that is not all right, then you have that extra like layer where it's like consumed into, baked into this definition of self and the world that is completely wrong, and that works with words that then also are used in a wrong way. Because the idea is that, well, there's love and we love you, but there is no love in reality, right? So that's like an abuse of words and categories and definitions, and that's like part of narcissistic brainwashing, if you get my gist. So even 15 years ago, when I clearly, very clearly had deep divine experiences, I was still in the mind of that I could not discern in the world between people in emotional relationships what that might translate into. That's why I still experience the gaslighting, which is the psychological confusion of the narcissistic abuse, that cruelty apparently was the norm in dealing with people. And I was not allowed to say anything about that because that's how I grew up. And that's how I dealt with myself. But that's also how I dealt with, well, my twin flame. And that was just something that, well, it completely resolved when I went to the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union. And then as a result of that, my trauma was cleaned up. So that's why one of the reasons why I completely advise doing that for you as well. Go to the consciousness state, right, of harmonious twin flame union. That's for everyone. But this is another reason why that is so good to do. Because this whole problem disappeared. Otherwise, I would still be unconsciously like cruel to my twin flame and not understand it. And for me, with like a narcissistic upbringing, that was a difficult to go towards earlier in my life because, well, I mean, I was very conscious of the fact that I had a problem there, but I just couldn't resolve it. I just couldn't, because, well, I always felt as though I had a moral problem because of the definition abuse of the narcissistic abuse, right? Like, I would need to say, basically, my family is lying because what they say is love is not at all love. It's actually cruelty and attack and defense. and but that seemed immoral to me. So that was like one bridge too far. So I had a moral dilemma there that I could not resolve because, well, here's the double bind, because I wasn't emotionally matured enough to be able to make that discernment and stand for it, etc. But that was like an endless spiral because I also could not get the emotional maturity because I didn't step out of that completely, etc., etc., etc. So I was not able to break through this problem until I let that all go. I moved towards harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, and from there on out, it was just healed inside of me, and that was that. So that's what I advise for you. Interesting, right? And yeah, I think we speak about a lot of aspects that are about the same thing. Like, why does twin flame union seem crazy? Because it's beyond this idea of attack and defense, which is actually, I mean, I talk about it as really problematic in my background, my social, psychological growing up and background and whatnot. It was even very traumatic for me how it existed inside of me. But actually, it's not only about trauma that this is very normal. It's very like culturally the norm that you live in this cruelty and think in attack and defense. It's very normal. So it doesn't even need to be so bad in your case, for instance, but that's like the cultural norm, and that's not how union consciousness works. So this is actually for everyone, right? It's just that it's even that for me, when I just sometimes experienced things that were deeply traumatizing, that's just like an extra it's like an extra, well, it makes things extra clear, right? Because when it's real bad, then it's just extra clear when you don't have it anymore. And it's just very, yeah. How do you say that? Well, it's just extra clear, right? What I said. And when we speak about why this twin flame union seem crazy, it is because it lies beyond attack and defense. It lies beyond the cruelty that we think is the norm. And it even lies beyond the kindness that we think is a great new norm. Because you need to let go defense and attack. You need to let go the one and the other. You need to let go being abused, but also you need to let go of being the victim. Both of them. Because it's not it. It's twin flame union comes from another place. Comes from the place of there's no cruelty in God and none in me. And that's a beingness, and that's where twin flame union lives. And that's also why it seems crazy, because we think in attack and defense all day long. That's the norm, seemingly, socially. And you have to let that completely go every aspect of it, that you have been abused of some sort and that you are the victim of some sort. And both need to be let go of completely and utterly. And that's where you'll find your union that has always been there and is waiting for you to take it on. And that's why it seems crazy, because it goes against what is so normal. So let's move on to a segment of one of my books. So I opened my book about twin flames to see what came up, as if it was an oracle. And this one came out. So you may by now pose yourself the question, who are you in this field and on that layer of things? There is an answer to that, and I can help you find it. The first suggestion is now you know the names of certain phenomena and can therefore point them out more clearly. You are not asked to be carried away on these terms. Rather, find the source underneath it all and ground yourself there even deeper. This is an ultimate positive, sustainable place that brings about your true identity, meanwhile in the course of action. While grounding your true identity yourself into this place, moment after moment, this forms a path for you. A spiritual path that will also grant you the abundance that belongs to your soul naturally. An abundance of money and of love, eternally bound to each other and never separate. For me personally, that had been clarified fully in the period prior to today, and is not a reason for panic or fantasy. Please do not obtain your information from those that are not able to see the grand picture, as that way you will always come home with a result that is less than whole. Feel unbalanced and in need of the entire spectrum to be able to ground fully. Someone that watches the news is only so far into it, and the person collecting puzzle pieces of conspiracy nature has also just only those. Some may think, well, that is great, but I just only want more love and money. And you have to understand that is the exact same thing in actual reality. For Source rewards your being when you are joining the transformation. You will stand in the creative flow of creation, and this will always result in exponential growth. You will understand your creative identity, which is your divine identity. Accept being a magician and let your mission commands. When you can be just yourself, regardless of such considerations, and add who you are to the whole, this will form the antidote of crisis in all forms you come across. And for me, this is not new or 2020 crisis related, as it had been prepped many years prior. It is merely fitting the questions of today so well that it, on another note, must have been meant to be. When one would ask me, is this good or bad, very bad or worse, then I would answer very good, for it is a positive development and an opportunity to stand up and congratulate yourself. You are risen. So this comes out of a chapter that talks about remembering that you are a magician, because you are connected to the pure source of actual manifestation, which is your union, which is connected to God. And you can manifest your twin flame union and everything that comes through it, all the abundance that comes through it, and that makes you a magician. And you hear the call to that, and that makes you a magician that is rising up right now in this time, in these years here in which we meet. And that's a sacred meeting, because you have been awaiting this time, and I have been waiting to meet you. And that's magic. This is the right time to pick that up. This is the right time to let that commands what that will bring when you say yes to it. And that's why I also opened my year group program. It's called Twin Flame Abundance Now. You can step into that right now when this show is recorded. The door is open. And it's a complete full program with 24 daily life topics to bring onto the union level. And almost weekly tune in the group call to bring you organically with the true twin flame inner work at the level of harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, where you need to go, where it will happen for you, where it will all fit together for you. And by following the program, you guarantee yourself that it will happen. And I want that for you. So that's why I created it and now finally opened it. And this is the time in which you can step into it. Well, I have a link where you can read about this program and make your choice which kind of member you will be. There are 3 options. And then you buy it. And then I will guide you to start. I'm looking forward to meeting you. And I also have upcoming Saturday on June 21st, 2025, a webinar in which I will actually share some awesome, unique things about true twin flame problems that many people have, such as they have another and they don't communicate with me anymore. And we find solutions for them. And I will also speak about this year group program. You can ask questions about that too. And that might be a welcome thing as well. So come to the webinar. There is still 1 place or 2 or something. And there's also a link for that below the video and in the pinned comment. So that's awesome if you give yourself that. And it can be an awesome way to start to step through the door of the year group program, Twin Flame Abundance Now as well. So that's why I say it. And we just read from my book. It's called The Emerald Itinerary, and it's from page 297 and 8 in the paper book called Twin Flames, Manifesting Your Abundant Life of Love. And you can find it on Amazon. Search for my name or the title of the book. Let's get some oracle guidance with the card deck that I made myself. Union and mission cards. All right, let's ask Divine Mother to help me to pick a card that is fit for, today, for this moment in the show. Well, we see a triangle with 2 flames, the twin flames. Triangle is on fire. And it's also like as if the flames, they touch this segment of a circle here, which is like the sun. And it says forging a team with a single mission from seeing people's natural qualities. All right. Well, builder humans, what B3.2. I'm just going to look in the booklet and read from it on my screen. But here's the thing. What kind of team are we forging? What do you think of this idea to think about the Twin Flame Union as a team? It's a team that you're part of. So be a team player and start to learn what it means to be a team player on the divine level, because it's your Twin Flame Union. Gosh. Well, cheers. That's my drink that you're hearing And the title of the card is thus also fittingly solving the riddle that teams are, which is what we all do when we go to Harmonious Twin Flame Union. When you go to Twin Flame Union, that's what you do. You solve the riddle that teams are at the most core level that exists anywhere. That's what that is. So it's no longer about you, it's about the team, and the team is the union. But you need to go through the you. Inner. You need to go inner through you. That's where the twin flame inner work starts. So we need you, but eventually you'll feel, experience, and go live there. You'll heal yourself into that it's about the team. And that the team is the union. All right, let's read the union meaning of this card, and the mission meaning of this card will be in the show notes on Patreon. Even though the reality of union makes that twin flames are always on the same inner consciousness level, they can be seemingly at different outer stages and in different phases of a self-educational process to put themselves on the right place. For example, both work at the same time through the block of communication, but one partner has already gone through the sorting out process with their family of heritage and concluded they don't communicate, and the other still has such a process in their future. And this does give a temporary different interpretation of where they know themselves to stand in union consciously. This results in the situation that forming union team will be accompanied by up and down movements and unclarities, when they can be overcome by feeling the deeper truth of you both moving through the same consciousness level upgrade. This is an enormous win and shows real leadership. The creative leader leading this process is a lover of the natural groundwork of what twin flames are. And as a consequence, not of the constructs that they are clearly essentially not. The patterns, they are still in the course of working out inside union consciousness. Twin flames supporting each other to find this out for themselves and voluntarily coming together in appropriate ways will have a sustainable relationship inside their union. This whole process breeds a kind of leadership inside them that is a co-creator, that can participate at the same time as lead. You can communicate who and what you are with power and union when you connect with the true source behind and inside yourself that supports, inspires, and motivates you both. This is a very sensitive connection, and this asks for maintenance, contact, and attention in and of itself. The speaking and action stemming from there will show your gifts automatically and bring them into action as well. So I feel that this is another approach to the question, why twin flame union seems crazy? Because you are in this process of finding out how this team works on the inner plane. This team that is already complete in your harmonious union consciousness state. And that's actually where you live. Everyone lives in their experiential field. You don't live in the outside snapshot picture that you believe someone else might see when they look at you. I don't know, in a video on YouTube or something. Nobody is their image. Everyone experiences their union through a journey of feeling in the heart. And when that feels harmonized in God, that's where you want to be. And because that feels ultimate and healthy and wealthy and abundant in the ultimate way, and loving and peaceful, and together with your twin flame, that's why it's attractive. It's about that experience that heals itself into like the perfect feeling all the time, eventually. That's what it's about. And how it will look temporarily can be crazy. Because it's not about that. And you will deeper and deeper understand what is meant by this when you go the true inner journey. You know, when I think of myself some decade ago, or 15 years ago, or 2 decades ago, trying to make strides in a twin flame journey, trying to understand what the heck was going on and how to integrate that with the rest of my spiritual journey, with the spiritual community and teacher that I was visiting, and with the rest of my life as well. And all of that, I can certainly see that I was completely distracted by how I thought it needed to look. Not that I would have wanted to admit that, but that certainly was what I was doing. It needed to look a certain way, and I was looking for it in forms. And in like, oh, this man, this form. Oh, there is another man, another form. Maybe it's him. Not understanding, completely stepping over the fact that the twin flame journey is about the feeling space in the heart in connection with your source, with the divine, and nothing else. And when that is ultimate, complete, peaceful, harmonized, you will be with your true twin flame, because that's where they live. End of story. And who it is exactly, if he has curly hair or straight hair, is tall or short, has a certain body and not another kind of body, well, that's not something you can choose. And that's not what it is about. And that's not what you should look for. And that's not what you desire. You desire the ultimate peace in your heart and the ultimate feeling of feeling ultimately fantastic all the time. And when you have it, when you are there, you will see that a certain person is your true twin flame that stands beside you in that experiential field where it is ultimate. And you see that it is for them too. Well, that's your true twin flame. And you can't control that, but it is really true. And that is also, I feel, the answer to the question, to make it real short, why twin flame union seems crazy. Because it's not about how it looks on the outside. I think that's the major answer. And that's also funny because, I mean, we all do our best to be non-judgmental about the outside of ourselves and our friends and the world and other people and twin flames and whatnot. But ultimately, you need to go to harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, and then you will experience what this inner seeing twin flames really is, your own union. And sometimes it also starts for you to be that you can see other unions, inner see other unions. And that's where you understand what was going on before, that it seemed crazy. Because however well meant, you might have still been judging things on the outside. I certainly did. Very interesting, no? And because I have seen that, I mean, everyone says that I want twin flame union, but what I have seen is that people then are presented with true unions in harmonious union, the consciousness state, and they reject them because they don't look like what they think it should look like. But it is not about how they look like. Many people that present themselves with a twin flame in a video on YouTube are not twin flames. But they might look like twin flames to you because they have something that look like twin flames to you. Because that's how you think that it should be visible in some sort of intuitive way. But many true twin flames in harmonious union are rejected. Because you don't see yet on the inside. And that's the only thing that counts. This is actually a really interesting journey that's really not for everyone in that sense. Because maybe you are looking for a specific thing on the outside with a specific body or a specific personality or a specific, I don't know, specific couple goals that you can, like, I don't know, attain together because it looks a certain way or something. And twin flame union is not about that. It's about something much better. It's about feeling ultimately. Your ultimate feeling. And then that comes with an outside too, because everything has also an outside. Duh. And that might temporarily look crazy to others, to yourself. But when you don't judge that and you just fall back into the consciousness state, in that peace, in that inner experience where it is what it is really about, then you're there again. Then you're again at, okay, this is what it is about. And the experience of that there's something crazy falls away. I think also that, I mean, twin flame union seems also crazy because so many people want it, but almost nobody reaches it. And then when it is reached by certain people for real, it seems crazy. Well, that's partly the same as I already said, but it's also partly something else because very, very little people reach it. And then when from the people that do reach it genuinely, many of them people find weird. And very many people reach quote unquote union, which is not what it is. It's not twin flame union what they have. They just present as two people on a video screen. I understand, but they're not twin flames and they're not in harmonious union. So that happens a lot too. There's a distinction there. Yeah. So true unions might seem strange to you because you're not yet in harmonious union, the consciousness state, and because you are outside oriented and not inside oriented, inner seeing what the union is, inner seeing that light, letting God show you that light and what that is, and not coming up with something yourself, something magical and intuitive, but you still came up with it yourself. And that's not what that is. It's actually such a weird topic, twin flames, because it's a given. It is already given. Twin flames is really strange. I think it is strange. When you look at where we live, in what kind of assumptions we live in the social assumptions of society, it's really strange. It's really different. It's really not what you think it is. It's really not like, oh yeah, I'm going to have this beautiful relationship. Of course you're going to have this beautiful relationship with your true twin flame. It will be ultimate romance. But that is not how you thought of it before in the cultural conditionings. It's not, for instance, what I, for instance, see on social media is like men and women complaining about that they were once in love, but now they share a household, and the other person doesn't do anything in the household, and the one person cleans and cooks and does the dishes and take groceries and childcare, and the other person doesn't do anything. And then they try to talk about that and resolve that and think about the ideas of why men are like this and women are like that, and find psychological backgrounds for it and psychological solutions for it. And that all seems very reasonable and very interesting. I was even interested in that. I was like, because I'm like preparing for sharing a household. So I was like, oh, that's interesting, actually. So, people have a lot of problems with that. I mean, that's interesting to know, right? So that like the relationship and the love fizzles out because of these kinds of practical problems. And then people give other people advice and they say, well, end the relationship because they don't do anything. And, well, fuck them. And I don't know what, Ooh, that's typical. Yeah, if you want a partner, they have to do a certain thing. And of course, I would want to have like a capable partner that is like emotionally mature, that shares in practical things. That sounds wonderful. But here's the thing. That's not how twin flames work per se. Not because twin flames are narcissists that cannot be capable and do as if they're not and always want to fuck you over, but still have a so-called love relationship and have the forms of what that might be. No, not at all. That's not at all what that is. Twin flames don't work like that because twin flames have a certain collaboration in their team together that is already sort of predestined to be in a certain way and does not necessarily collide with societal, social, logical, self-made up ideas of what one person should contribute to living together and what would be fair the other should be doing in such a literal way that we would like put it on paper. Oh, they did that one and I did that one, and let's write that down, and it needs to be equal every week and every day. And that's not how twin flames work. It's much more organic. They are already meant to be contributing to a lifestyle that leads continually to a deeper state of peace and love. And that translates itself into these kinds of practical things too. But not necessarily because they look like what everyone outside the twin flame idea would find logic and reasonable, but because that is for uniquely their union the best way in divine light. And you don't need to mark that off on a list. That will not work for twin flames because it all floats on divine love. And in divine love, it is already fair. So what you do there is you contribute what comes up, what bubbles up in you to want to share. And you keep that within your peaceful, normal boundaries. And there's something else that comes up, bubbles up in them. Because they want to share that innately. And that's what they contribute within their set of boundaries. That they don't walk over themselves. And that should form the ultimate life, because whatever they experience in that together, in living that together, will contribute to going deeper and deeper in love. What about that? Which is eventually what their whole relationship thrives in. And that's what you desire. That is what you desire. It is what your heart truly desires. To, through that relationship, every time, go deeper in love, in divine love. So it's also not meant to be fair or equal in that kind of cold logic way, but it will always be fair and equal in a divine way. Ooh, that reminds me of A Course in Miracles. It does. Yeah, I think there are whole chapters in the book, A Course in Miracles, that we do use to learn more about union consciousness, which is twin flame union consciousness, right? There are whole pieces of the book in which there are descriptions about how, no matter what the form is, God has an, how do you say that? God is fair. And everyone, no matter what amount you are called to contribute, everyone gets the same from God, the same amount and the same depth of love and peace from God, the same abundance from God. Everyone gets their true twin flame and harmonious union from God. Everyone gets their divine abundance from God. Everyone gets that, no matter what you contribute under God in the society of God. That's what A Course in Miracles says. It's actually in the chapter that I have been studying for over a year, a lot, because Divine Mother pointed out that would need to be a chapter that was fit to study at that time. That was not so long ago, like 1.5 years ago. I started studying that. A little over 1.5 years ago. Anyway, yeah. that was very interesting. So, well, this was like the summary of that chapter. There you go. There was a lot more in it, but oh my gosh, yeah. So it is not how you thought about it, but it is much more and much more beautiful than you ever thought about it. The twin flame union, the twin flame relationship. And that's why it seems crazy, because it's unknown yet. But the divine unknown is of the most pure, beautiful heart feeling that ever can be acknowledged by yourself. And that's what it's all about. The beauty is not able to be understood by society and social bound understanding. The beauty of twin flame union far surpasses that, because it is anchored in something else. And from the place of social and societal norms that is so, well, frankly, divine and beautiful and peaceful, that it doesn't fit inside the molds of social and societal structures. And therefore, it seems crazy. And therefore, twin flame union will always seem crazy to those that are still in the grasp of the ego. I choose now to explore the most complete depths of my being. I surrender my mind completely to God, that He may bring it into perfect harmony with His. I invite God now into my very core, that He may make it right, returning it perfectly to its state of eternal wholeness. I trust in the power of divine love. I choose to see the truth that is universally accepted by all. At the core of every child of God, including me, we're all one with our twin flames and God. It is safe for me to open completely to love now. My love is not elusive unless you command it so. But don't worry, you could not choose against love itself, because you are love itself, manifest as you eternally. If you command it to leave, love does not leave, because it cannot possibly leave. But you leave love by the power of your command, and by that same power, you command yourself to return to love, and it is so, revealing to you that love never left. It is safe to let go. It is safe to relax into love's eternal presence. Love is calling you home, and I'll be there waiting. I have always been here with you, and I always will be. Your next step. Don't forget to actually start the process and jump on the team. Actively come to our community, start doing the correct inner work, and ask the support you deserve through our services, so that we can start a relationship that will lead you to harmonious union and beyond. When you're not in a relationship, you're not on the team, and you can't expect the results I'm speaking of and in fact guaranteeing. Currently, you are cordially invited to step into the group year course experience. This is the Twin Flame Mystery School you have been waiting for. I am looking for 9 people to step into this abundant opportunity. Twin Flame Abundance Now has opened its doors. Start giving so that you can receive. The door closes as soon as I have my 9 people that will be successful in their journey. But first, we have many festivities together. And one of them is the Twin Flame webinar next up, and it will be on Saturday, June the 21st. And there is still a place or 1 or 2. So claim it with the link in the description box below. It is also, in other words, tinyurl.com/TwinFlameUnionSolutions webinar. And of course, you can look at the Twin Flame Year Group course in the link, and that will be creativeuniverse.earth/abundance now. And it's also in the description box and in the pinned comment below the video, the show notes. You can, however, support this ongoing Twin Flame news as such. Make it possible as co-creator. Without your participation and financial gifts, I cannot do anything, because we need to have an energetic and verbal visual exchange for things to make sense and to know what I need to talk about for you. And also, we're on Earth, and that necessarily always works with money as a means to make sacred content actually physically flow. Therefore, I post the show notes on Patreon. Come over and enjoy. Have influence on the broadcasts. Don't miss out on the behind the scenes experience. Patreon.com/PEJ at Creative Universe, or the link below or in the pinned comment. And this month's Patreon subscriber action is, I have a very special service that has brought a student in the consciousness state of Harmonious Twin Flame Union 2 weeks after having undergone it. It is a bringing together of everything that my method offers in a compact and focused way. When you feel ready to truly go in now, this is for you. And normally, it costs currently €444 ex VAT for people that are not regular students inside the year group course Twin Flame Abundance Now, and half that price for those inside of it. The special deal is that anyone can now go for the half price for those that are second tier Patreon members. When you have listened until here, maybe you know a place where you can share this video. Do it, because other people might enjoy it too. I am Petra, in the consciousness state of Harmonious Twin Flame Union since March 2020. Worked with the Christ Masters on Earth right now to roll this consciousness state out so everyone can enjoy the abundant life with their true twin flame soon enough after going in with me right here. Don't search any further. You found what you were looking for. Om. Amen.